you're cleaning everything up, just use your lint-free cloth and make sure you examine your pistons here. We don't want to see any scarring or heavy marks or anything on these. If you see that, then you might be able to clear them up with a little bit of fine grit sandpaper, but if they're in rough shape, these pistons here, you might as well replace them, because you're just going to be fighting a losing battle once you try to put this back together. And just use compressed air as well, to blow all this out after you've wiped it clean. Make sure you see no scratches or scarring or anything inside these cavities, and make sure that you clean it out really well before you put her back together. I want to start with a nice clean environment when we put these new seals back in, so make sure that it is as clean as you can get it. And I like to polish my calipers, actually, so I take them over to my steel bristle brush on my bench grinder and make it look nice and shiny. That's just my preference. Once I've got it all apart, I might as well, right? You can make it look better than new if you clean it up a little bit. Makes the whole bike look better, in my opinion. Alright, so next, we'll take us some clean brake fluid, and we're going to lubricate the walls of your brake cylinder right there, where your pistons are going to go. Only use clean brake fluid for lubrication. Alright, we're going to take us some nice clean brake fluid and just wipe it in here. I just use a brush with stuff like this so I don't get so filthy. Same with if I'm greasing something, I like to use a brush instead of just cramming it all over your finger. All right. Lubed it up nicely. Do the same with the pistons here. Okay. There we go. All right, now we're going to take the new seals and all we do is push those in with our finger. Okay, so we take this guy here. And just carefully put the large one in first. See it in there. Second one. And the other cylinder here. Got some nice cheesy 70s music going on. Alright, we'll take the skinny one now, and it goes, of course, in the front slot. Just carefully lay them in there and work them around. Not that big a deal. That's the cool thing about rebuilding the brakes. It's really not that difficult. It just takes time to do it. But if you're having brake issues, you know, where your brakes are making all kinds of noise and uneven pad wear and squealing, and you know, they just don't feel good. You know, spend a little time, rebuild this guy. All right, same deal. We'll make sure we got fluid in here sufficiently. Nice clean fluid only. All right. And the closed end goes towards the assembly. Okay, so carefully just work it in there. May want to turn it a little bit with your hand, you know, with your finger. I can tell instantly. Okay, you have to just twist it. I can tell instantly that those went in a lot easier than they came out. Okay. And maybe just do a quick little cleanup of that excess. So yeah, fresh seals, fresh fluid, a nice cleanup. All right, and with your mount here, we're going to clean it up also. And with the rebuild kit, we're going to replace this guy right here. It just pulls right out, no big deal. Notice how it comes out too. It has a little lip on the end. That's the part that will go inside, because the other side does not have a lip like that. So just keep that in mind when you're putting her back together. Okay, but we're going to clean this off. And examine where your little clips go. Like this clip right here that holds the brake pads in place. That goes right here. You know, examine that, make sure that it's not all beat up. If it's in rough shape, you might have to just replace this piece. Same thing with the clip that you're going to replace. If your existing clip is bent, warped, cracked, you might as well replace it. It'll just help everything work better after the fact. All right, we got everybody cleaned off now. Make sure you've got clean brake fluid as far as your lubricant. The only tricky things there are on reassembly are the little seals, like this little piston seal right here. It is a little tricky to put back in. It goes in this hole right here. I honestly just wet it a little bit. You know, you can just put a little water on it or spit on it or whatever, you know, just so that it, and then squeeze it. Just got to kind of manipulate it to get her started in there. It'll get going. I like to just keep, you know, just keep twisting it back and forth. And you'll see it start to pop out the other side here. You have to use your fingers a little bit. It'll pop into place. That is only slightly tricky. Okay, and then the other little dust seal, this little guy here. Okay, and this other little seal right here goes in this little hole here, and you see it's got a nice slot in there, so that tells you that that side is what goes in there. Same deal, you just kind of squeeze it together, give it a nice little push. Right there, just keeps dirt and dust out of the mounting pins. Gotcha. And as far as reassembly, they basically just go opposite of each other. Might want to use a little I like to use a little bit of, whoa, look out. A little bit of waterproof grease, just a little bit on these boots right here. Just helps keep dirt out. Just a little bit. Keeps dirt out of there and helps all this slide back together nicely. So just a little bit on there. Okay. And just work it around some. You can, it's a nice seal right there now. Same with the other one. Just work it, spread a little bit around. Okay, like so. Looks good. All right, really the only thing next is to get your brake pad clips, install those, and let's see, these pads, let's compare these old pads to some new ones and see how much wear we've got here. Alright, I went ahead and cleaned up the old brake pads just so they'll be a little easier to work with, and they make me feel better that they're not a crusty mess. But comparing them to a brand new set, really not in bad shape. So I'm going to stick with the ones I already have here. Still got a good bit of life left on them, so I'll stick with those.